So, what exactly is the long L word? Well, I'll describe that to you right now. So, I have my checkups at the clinical center on the campus of Michigan State University in East Lansing. And after having met up with the receptionist at the front desk, and we would find out what my battery of tests would consume of for that visit. Um, One of the rooms that I remember walking into, most prominently out of every test and examination I've ever had to have done while being there, was the room that had the long L word on the front of it, on the wall rather. So what is the long L word? That's a good question. Laboratory. Getting labs drawn. Yeah, blood work. Now, after having been poked so many times, and knowing after a while that when you see the long L word, that means you're going to get a poke. After a while, you start to corroborate the two. Laboratory means blood work, getting poked with a needle. And so the very minute I would see the L word on the wall, I'd start bawling. I'd have my Jerry Bear clutched in this arm over here, and the tears would just start rolling. I'd start screaming. I'd start crying. No, why? I don't want to be here. And my mom and dad, they just kind of shrugged it off, and yeah, he'll be fine. Well, then my dad noticed that there was a fish aquarium built into the wall, mind you, monster goldfish inside this aquarium. And so my dad would always try to divert my attention. Jared, come and look at the goldfish, man. Come and check this out, man. No, 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 no. And that would be me the whole time screaming, no, 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 because I didn't want to be there. And I was always hoping that the people in back would forget that I was there, you know. And not long after, my dad trying to divert my attention from what was about to happen to the fish aquarium, not long after that, Jared, no, and I'd start screaming, and it would just progressively get worse. And my dad would literally have to pick me up off the floor, and mind you, I still have Jared Bear in this arm. I'm kicking and screaming, tears are running down my face, and my dad, in his very stern and deep voice, would always say to me, now, Jared, that's enough. Right now, son, that's enough. We're going to go in there, we're going to get this done, and we're going to get out of here. Now, that's enough. And I would always fight him tooth and nail every time. And so Dad would carry me in. Mom would wait in the lobby. Dad would carry me in. We would sit in the lab chair with the armrest that folds down in front. And of course, Jerry Bear's still firmly tucked in my arm because he was my right hand man. I took him everywhere with me, And I was probably, I'd say, 4 or 5 years old. And I remember it like it was yesterday. The nurse would get down on her knees. She would kneel down and she would get eye level with me, and she'd say, now, Jerry Bear, we got to get this done. Even back then, I was Jerry Bear. And she would say to me, Jerry Bear, now come on, we got to get this done. The quicker you get this done, dude, the quicker you'll get out of here and you'll go on to the next thing that you got to do. Then you'll get to go home. You'll get to go to McDonald's. You get to, you'll get to leave. But right now, we got to get this done, man. We got to be strong, And they were very encouraging and uplifting. And, that was always something that I remember from the clinical center as well. So she wraps the tourniquet around my arm to locate the vein. She adds the alcohol, and which, by the way, I take a whiff of rubbing alcohol. PTSD triggers just like that. I have really bad triggers from rubbing alcohol. Just the smell brings back the flashbacks. So I would have all that done, and she wouldn't even get the butterfly needle out of the package yet. And I'm looking at it like it's right there on the table next to me, and it's like, ah! And I would scream so loud, and you think they were, killing me. You think they were butchering me. No, they weren't. She would take it out of the wrapper, and she'd say, now, Jerry Bear, you know how to count to 3, right? No, I did, but I was just being a whine baby. And she would say, "Now come on, Jerry Bear, I know you can count to three. I know you can count to three." She says, "On the count of three, we're going to feel just a little bee sting, okay? Just a tiny bee sting. It's not going to hurt a lot, but just a little bit." No. And, without further ado, she wasn't going to waste any more time. So we counted to three. She says, 1, 2, 3, bee sting. And right when she said bee sting, the needle went in. I let out one loud, boisterous scream, and then I looked down. I'm watching the blood go through the catheter into the vial. Dad's like, "Look at your blood, Jared. You did it, buddy. You did it, And he's patting me on the shoulder. He says, "All right, bud, you did it. See, Daddy knew you could do it. Daddy told you could do it." And the nurse was like, "Yay, Jared Bear. All right, look at you, tough guy." And I'm sitting there. I got that little bottom lip going. And she says, "See, all done." And Dad says, "Isn't it cool you get to see your blood go through that tube into the vial?" No. And I still had the sniffle thing going on. And the nurse says, "Well, let me cheer you up. I think I know the thing that'll cheer you up." And she brought out a whole container, it was one of those, like a school, like what you put pencils in. Well, it was full of Band-Aids. It was like a pencil box full of Band-Aids. And she says, "You got your choice of Snoopy, Winnie the Pooh, or Mickey Mouse. Which one do you want?" I liked them all, but I would usually get Mickey Mouse. Sometimes I get Winnie the Pooh, but it was usually Mickey Mouse. And she says, "Here you go, Jerry Bear." And she put it on, and she said, "Give me 5, buddy." And I give her 5, and that'd be it. So that's one of the most prominent memories I have from my checkups from the clinical center in East Lansing.